Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Lunchline Podcast. This is, in fact, the greatest podcast that you never heard. Y'all know what it is, baby.
Good morning, Americans. It's Friday.
Hey, man, listen, man. Go ahead and turn up for a minute, man. Welcome back to the Lunchline Podcast, man. This is, in fact, the greatest podcast that you never heard. Hey, man, y'all know, as we always say, man, treat yourself, don't beat yourself, man. Welcome back. It is officially 12 p.m., so y'all know how we do it around this time, man. It is the Lunchline Podcast. Hopefully, y'all brung some lunch, or y'all having some good lunch, or y'all having some leftovers. Whatever it is that you are having for lunch, I want you to heat that up real quick and come on, sit down. We're going to spend a few minutes and we're going to talk about some things. And thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for spending time. I don't really know how many of y'all are listeners. I know there's a few listeners that I know personally. But man, you know, spread the word, man. Lunchline Podcast, where you can get, a really cool message by a really odd, unique individual. You know, just doing what I do here, man. So thank y'all, man, for tuning in to the Lunchline Podcast, and welcome back. Hey, man, y'all know, for the first time in my life the other day, I did something that I've never done before. I actually used a coupon in the grocery store. I know, right? I'm officially crossing over into that new threshold of life. I'm in the second half of my life, and it's getting greater and greater. And I am doing things now like using coupons. See, years ago, I would always consider myself the clearance rack specialist. I would go into any clothing store anywhere and I would automatically hit the clearance rack because I believe in deals. Never, ever have I applied that same belief to grocery stores. So there happened to be some ice cream that I wanted, dairy-free, and I had a coupon, and I used that coupon, and I was very proud of myself. I was very, very proud of myself. Now, I don't know where it's going to go from here. I don't know if I'm going to become an extreme couponer after this, but I just want to say that I used that coupon, and I was very, very delighted with myself that I did so. So, yeah. So, you know, two, you know, big ups for me. And I'm very proud of myself for that, because that was a great achievement for me. But anyway, let's go ahead and get to it. Look, we're going to have a really, really, really deep talk tonight, or today, or in this moment. My brother asked me a question a few weeks ago. And let me give you a little bit of backstory before. Well, should I do the question first? I'll do the question first. Okay, never mind. So I'll give you the backstory. Let's give you the backstory. So a lot of you may know. A lot of you may know me personally. A lot of you may, who listen, have interacted with me over the years. And most of you know that I had a very strong church-going Christian background, right? I was a part of a very, very talented gospel rap or Christian rap or whatever you want to call it, either or kingdom rap group a few years ago, several years ago. It's been many years now. And that was the way that I lived my life as a devout Christian who walked in the faith, who fellowshiped and worshiped with other like-minded individuals. And, you know, we actually had an album. I've performed on a lot of different stages. I've done outreaches. I've been prison ministry. I've done a lot of different things when it comes to, you know, Christian ministry and serving and things like that. So that's just the backstory. And so fast forward, you know, 14 years later, I think. I don't know how many years it's been since I've touched a mic or even performed in a church or anything like that. A lot of you may be wondering because most of you first met me in a worship setting. Like you met me in a church setting. You didn't know me before church. A lot of my really close friends did, obviously. But a lot of you didn't know me before church. And some of you may be wondering, what happened to him? Why is he no longer a man of the faith, or a man who is a Christian, a man who believes that Jesus Christ is Lord? What happened to him? I see him on his podcast. I want to get with it, but I can't get with it because he's not talking about things that I remember him discussing. You know, he cussing a little bit. He a little off on his ring a little bit. Like, what the hell happened to this guy? So I say all that to say that my brother asked me a question, and he's one of the only people to actually ask me that question. He was like, bro, I've been wanting to ask you this, but I didn't know how to ask you this. But what happened? Like what changed that made you no longer follow in the faith like you once did? Because when I say I went hard, like I went all the way hard for ministry, like went all the way hard. And so my brother asked me that, and I took a deep breath just like I just did. And I said, bro, man, and this is my blood brother. So, you know, we had a long conversation, and I said, man, you know, there's a lot of different things, that led to me, walking away from or renouncing, the Christian belief, or the belief of Christ as Lord. All of it. Like I renounced all of it, and I no longer believe in any of that. And I said to him, I said, man, it's a lot of things that actually went into that. And I mean, it could take me a year to explain all of this, because I've gone through a lot between the time that I first started ministry to the time that I left, until now. So I've been through a lot. And I said to him, man, and I said, bro, the first thing I want you to understand is I was not what people in the faith, or if you know church folk, people see some of those who may turn away or walk away or just no longer believe the things that they did before as somebody who had experienced church hurt. And I clarified that, and I said, bro, I wasn't hurt. I wasn't like spited. It's just that in my own personal life and understanding, I no longer agreed with a lot of the things that I once did. And, you know, with that being said, it just was a lot of stuff regarding the word, the Bible. It was a lot of things regarding the actions or the way that the system or the institution of church is ran. All of it. Of course, I'll say this. A lot of the people that are dear to me, I met in church, right? So I'm not going to sit here and say that because I no longer believe the things that I once did, that I don't love and appreciate those same people. Because some of the best people that I've met or come to know or come to love in my life, I've met through church. And I still honor and respect those people to this day. Now, even though my belief now is different from some of my brothers and sisters that I once worshiped with, I'm still respectful enough to say, if you still believe in Christ and you still believe in the word and you still want to walk that path, you got that right to do so. I'm not going to look at you no different. I'm still going to rock with you. If you need me, I got you. Right. But it just was a lot of things about it, man. And I just didn't agree with. And so that led me to question it. I'm like, man, we sitting around here. It's not the fact that we sacrificing our life for other people. Servitude is a great thing. But this belief that everything that I do, everything that I work hard for, I have to give the glory to God. I have to give. There's nothing that's reserved for myself. And I think that when it comes to church, from what I see, it is a very, in the black church, it is a very emotional event where people come together and they have the gift or the ability to sing. And it's just one I'm just talking about, and it's not coming after, like, it's just pointing out some stuff. It's like, man, this is just a big emotional fest where people tithe and there's promises made by a man, a pastor, who says that you'll be blessed. You have to give and you have to tithe. You got to sow a seed and you got to do all of these different things. But nothing within the community, nothing within the lives of the people are actually changing. So I question the message to where everything is super duper spiritual, deep, emotional, high. Let's shout and praise at 11:59 before the New Year's come, and let's bring in this thing super rowdy and whatever, and let's get emotional and cry and all that. Like, ethically or from an economic sense. And I did the episode a while ago about, are black churches hurting black people? And I honestly believe that they are. You know, and I'm not saying that the church doesn't have good people. I just disagree with the belief behind it. You know, and we can talk about, you know, Christianity, and it's just, there's, if you do your research, we know that there are a lot of and I'm trying to do this the best that I can, right? I'm trying to say this the best that I can because I want to be really careful. And I want to be mindful of what I'm saying because I want you to clearly understand me. There are a lot of religions in the world. There's dozens, thousands, hundreds. I don't know. There's a lot of different religions in the world. And what I come to believe now, as far as spirituality, how can Christianity sit here and say that this is the one way through Jesus Christ, this one man, this is the way to everlasting happiness, joy, love, and peace, and there is no other way? And every other religion believes that same thing. And we sit here and we say that, and when you understand spirituality, and when you, the way that I believe spirituality to be, is that it's much more than just a narrow view or a narrow direction into the way that things should be. Because true understanding or consciousness means you look at things from a different perspective, upside down, sideways, and you have various views of it. So how can we sit here and say that the only way for me to be happiness or to reach a real meaningful, purposeful life is through this one person? I just believe spirituality to be much more than what Christianity is offering. And I can sit here and I can look at a person who's Hindu and I can say, nah, you know, Hinduism is wrong. No, that's not it. And then you have, we can just say, aboriginals or people who live off in the jungle, who are in, isolated areas in various corners of the world, who really don't have contact with any civilization that we know whatsoever. And we look at them and we say, the Christianity view, we say that because you haven't confessed this one person or this one man as your Lord and Savior, you will eventually you'll come to some form of condemnation or hell, or you'll be you in trouble, in so many words. How can we look at them people and say that, damn, they ain't had no contact with nobody, but because they haven't believed in this guy and they ain't confessed that this guy is Lord of their life and he saved them, these people ain't even, man, they just living their life. And they've been living that way for 100, if not thousands of years in these remote parts of the world. So we can sit here and say that because they haven't confessed to what the Western world has adopted as a belief system, that they are now condemned. That shit don't make sense to me. Now, I do believe that there's a lot of good principles that come with, that I learned as far as character, and most of that it didn't necessarily come from, from biblically speaking, but it came from being around solid, good men who set the example for me as to what character was. And whether or not you want to chalk that up as spirituality, God or Christ or whatever like that, I'm looking at the men themselves who done the work. So what we as people do, or what we Christians do, is we say that anything that I am, I'm this because of God or Christ. Okay, whatever. I'm looking at you doing the work, right? And so I believe, because of what we're able to achieve here and what we're able to accomplish here and what we're able to do as human living spiritual beings on this planet, in this universe, in this space and time, because of what we're able to do and to create, we are essentially gods ourselves. So the fact that we can create life, we can take things from basic thoughts and ideas, and they can become a reality, like a tangible thing. Like that, to me, is evidence that we are much greater than what we have been led on to believe or to even accept credit for. And I'm just trying to gather my thoughts as I'm digging through this, man. But, my brother, and to get back to what he was saying, I was like, bro, it's not just one thing, man. I just don't agree with a lot of the principles. I don't agree with a lot of the stuff that they teach or a lot of the stuff that they do. And you see pastors come out, and I'll say, Creflo came out and said, listen, which was a surprise to me, because Creflo, if you know Creflo Dollar, and this ain't no knock against him, and I'm not trying to attack, this guy personally, because I don't know him, but for a pastor to come out and say, listen, all the teachings that I did on prosperity were wrong. I want you to throw them all away. And if you've been somebody who's been, heavy in the faith for, years, and you've been devout, then you're familiar with Creflo. But for him to say that, like, bro, I've been wrong about all of this prosperity, and after he's obtained massive amounts of wealth, and it's not just him, it's Osteen, all of them, they've obtained massive amounts of wealth tax-free from the people, and the condition of many black communities remain the same. There hasn't been any real infrastructure that has come from all of the black churches that are everywhere in this country. You got the pastor that just got robbed on Facebook Live or whatever it was. He got robbed of his jewelry, $400,000 worth of jewelry. I ain't saying that the man ain't supposed to rock jewelry at all. Do what you got to do. But based off of what the Bible teaches about humility, about, don't you up there stunting and shining on people like that, showing them that you got it, showing them that you bag. And they do that under the guise of God said, I'm blessed. And, this is evidence of God's blessings on me. And I look at that and I say, man, like, that ain't what I would do, because if I'm driving a Bentley, I'm just, you know what I'm saying? And I know how you would say, well, what you would do ain't what they would do, and vice versa. But if I'm driving a Bentley and there's anybody in my church that has a driver's license with a good driving record that cannot afford, there shouldn't be a member in my church without a car, because we are the community. And I know they say, the bad apples, it's not just a few bad apples, man. There's way too many people pimping off of people's emotions. People who haven't, woke up enough within themselves to say, man, I'm going to become the change that I want in my life. I'm not going to wait for God to do it. I'm not going to wait for a Christ to do it. I'm not going to sit here and just be praying, I'm going to be this change. That ain't always the message. Because church, I believe in Christ and, religion. Man, I'm going to get a lot of flack for this. It makes people codependent upon God or Christ to not have to do anything, because that belief it really keeps people stagnant in a way. I'm just gonna pray that God's gonna do it, and I know what y'all gonna say, faith without works is dead, yada yada yada. But in all reality, like, it's created a really lazy culture of people, man. Like it's like you got people just praying and taking and it's just we praying for our ailments, that God remove these ailments in my body, and y'all pastor having fish fries every weekend, and y'all eating. I know I always talk about food a lot, Lunchline Podcast, but y'all pastor having fish fries every weekend. You have fish fries, you eat fatty stuff. People got all kind of diabetes. People got all of these things wrong. But you do that, and then you go and you say, God, heal my body. And pastor, like, this is just basic logical stuff. This ain't like super deep spirituality at all. Because we have human bodies that react a certain way to different types of foods and ingredients and minerals and herbs and things like that. So if we eating things that are counterproductive to how our body has been designed, then what do we expect? They ain't got nothing to do with super God, spirituality, none of that stuff. So, I know I'm kind of going a little left here, but I had this conversation with my brother, and I'm like, bro, like, it's just more to it. And then you look at it from a cultural standpoint, like, black people, we should be the last fucking ones, bro. Based off of what the Bible has been used. And when you think about Christianity, when you think about church, you automatically assume whiteness, right? Like, that's really just the way it is. Like, in the way that the Bible has been used to manipulate, out of context in a lot of ways, to manipulate into and to trick and pimp black people and to enslave black people. Like, it's been used in a very poor, it's been used in an awful way. Still a lot of questions. Not just that, but there's still a lot of questions about the book in itself. You take a culture of people who are from a different land or a different country, who, you know, we talk about our ancestors, you know, different tribes, different places on the continent. We all come from a different tribe, but we all are of one people. Not knowing, you know, we dancing and we celebrating, and we have our own languages, and we have, you know, our own traditions, and we have all of the things that we embrace as African people, as melanated people. And you take a people, you enslave a people, and you give them this book, and you say, this is the way. This is the way. The government didn't have no problems with Martin Luther King when he was preaching, you know, peace, love, togetherness. He ain't got no problem with the message of, oh, yeah, whatever. We ain't really worried about, you can stay on the Christ and Jesus and stuff like that. Like, they are not threatened by that message. We ain't really bothered about y'all praying and, you know, kumbaya. You know, we ain't worried about that. They not worried about black people marching in the streets. They not threatened by people praying in the middle of the street. Like, they're not, government's not threatened by that. But when you seek to really invoke change and you say, you know what? Instead of us praying, instead of us doing the same things that we have always done, black people everywhere, or any people, Native American, whatever group of people you're from, Hispanic, it don't matter. But if people who are really seeking to make a change say that I am no longer, we as a people are no longer going to buy into your institution. So black people everywhere, if black people everywhere at one point in time said we are not buying anything, we're not participating in it, and we leave it and we going to do our own thing, that would threaten their way of life. Why do you think, I know a lot of you have heard, you know, Black Wall Street and many other black cities that have been burned over the years to the ground. That threatens them. And this isn't just this podcast isn't supposed to be just about, you know, this episode ain't supposed to be about, you know, government and stuff like that, but it all ties into to Christianity and the belief system. They're not threatened by this Jesus that we stump up and down and scream and shout for. There's just a lot of, I just don't. And I heard something very interesting from Billy Carson. And he was talking about, you know, the worship gene. And he was saying, like, you know, within people, man, like, there's a gene within us that need to worship something, you know, and we all struggle. People in the faith, many of the people, I ain't saying all of them, struggle with identity. So instead of me figuring out who I am, it's easy for me to just relinquish it and give it all up to God and say, God, you direct my path. And I don't know. It just wasn't enough for me. And you see a lot of people professing to be godly and professing to be all of these different things, and they behave and they act so fucking differently than what they are actually saying. You got, and I ain't trying to come out nobody's flaws, but you know, you got pastors and people that profess on platforms and stuff like that I'm super godly, I love this, and they do the dance, and they do that. They know all of the words to say to you, but they knocking chicks down on the side, and they get caught and they like, oh, I had a bad. I see it as like, bro, it's just what you want to do because it's your nature. I'm not knocking you for it. Like, I love women too. I'm not knocking you for it. Hey, I just wish most of them would just be honest and say, man, I just want to knock down chicks on the side. Like, y'all just gonna have to take it what it is. You know what I'm saying? So it's just people will rather. It's like we put on this facade for each other because we want to appear better than what we are. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people know this by now. Like, I agree 100% with polygamy. Like, I think people having more than one wife in a relationship, I fully agree with that lifestyle. So you got men of the faith who, in our reality, like, it's not that I ain't saying that they don't love their wife, but in our reality, like, bro, you just want more than one woman. But you've restricted yourself to this belief system that says that, oh, no, which is a Western belief system. You go to different countries, rural areas, tribal areas, tribal lands, and you hear about men who have, more than one wife. And I know people say it's like, oh, you just for a sex thing. No, I'm really saying, like, they have more than one wife. And it has, in, the Western world, what we've come to believe now, like, everything has to be all about sex. Like, oh, you just want to, it's not just that. It's about family building. It's about generation building. It's about lineage. It's about power. Sense of family, togetherness. It's not just about sex. So you got these men who have been given this belief of Christ and the church and stuff, in this monogamy, one wife thing, and you got men over here living a way that I believe that they weren't necessarily designed to live. And I know some people may say, oh, you turned away from God because you just want to do whatever the hell you want. Like, no, that's not true at all. Because I still uphold myself with really high integrity in the way I carry myself, the way I behave, the way that I treat people, the way that I conduct myself in public. I'm the same way. I can hold a conversation with a 90-year-old lady just like I can with somebody that's 25, and I treat them the same exact way. So it's not me saying that I'm done with the church because I want to live and say and do whatever I want, but because I believe that I serve a higher purpose. I believe that there's much more to life than what that one narrow, isolated way of believing is in spirituality. And I'm not some theologian, and forgive me if y'all feel like I didn't really explain it or give y'all enough pointers as to why, but I just can't rock with it no more. It's just too many loopholes. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just way too many loopholes for me. And then you got people, that's just in the church that they mess up and live the way that they want to live, and they just, chalk it up as, oh, God's still working on me. Like, nigga, at this point, you just want to do that stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just like, bro, you just want to do that stuff. And I don't know. But again, like I say, some of the people that I love the most and some of the people that are dear to me, I met them in church. And if they still choose to believe that, I'm not going to love them any differently. And I'm not telling any of y'all that you should believe what I believe. I'm not telling you to question it, but for me, it just wasn't really hitting on nothing. You know what I'm saying? We talking about all these wonders and all of this faith and people praying around. It just logically, it's just not, no, man, it just ain't adding up to me. And I still love my brothers who continue in the ministry, who continue in the faith, and I still rock for them. If they need something, they call me, vice versa. Like, if I call them and I need something, I'm pretty sure they be there to look out for me. So it's not, like I still have respect for what they believe. And I look at things on the grand scale and I say, listen, whether you believe in Hinduism or you're Muslim or you Catholic, whatever you adopt, the principles of all of those to me still point back to the same thing of do right to our fellow people. Love each other, sincerely care for each other. I think those are just basic principles. You know what I'm saying? That if any good person of any religion, like whatever, don't matter. I don't really care. Whatever it may be that you believe in. I just believe there's many more ways for many more people. And we can't just sit here and just say because you don't believe that Christ is Lord, that you are condemned already. Because if that's the case, it's going to be a lot of people that screwed up. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, it just don't make sense to me. Like, it just doesn't make sense. And I'm seeing more and more people that are like myself, like, man, I really can't mess with it no more. And it's cool that if you can't rock with me because of it, like, I ain't meant, bro, listen, trust me, I'm not tripping. Like, I'm not. I mean, if you ain't got the hint by now, I'm really not tripping. I'm really not tripping if you don't rock with me because, the Christianity thing or whatever. You look past the person that I am and you say, oh, you a heathen because you don't believe what I believe. Nah, I'm still a good person. I'm probably more loyal than the people that you are in the faith with. I'm just paint the picture, man. Just paint the picture. But I set out to say to my brother, and the conversation I had with my brother was a lot more in depth than that. But I was just explaining to him, like, bro, we are so much more than what we have been told. And we have so much power as people than what we have been told. Right? So much more power. We don't give ourselves credit. We don't know how to congratulate ourselves and to be proud of what we done. But everything is, I gotta give glory to somebody. Nah, I ain't with that. I did that work. I put that work in. Where I am today, I got there because I worked hard and because I wanted to get there. So the person who is evil, the person who is destructive, the universe, the law still apply to that person as well too. People are like, well, how come the evil still do so well and the evil still, flourish and thrive? Because they apply some of the basic principles of believing in their dream, envisioning where it is that they want to be, and they going after that thing regardless of the obstacles in their way. So there's no questioning like, oh God, just let them prosper. Why is the evil prosper? Bro, they applying basic universal laws of success. Like, it ain't got nothing to do with spirituality. You got to envision that thing that you want, and you got to believe in it so much and go after it. And regardless if that person is evil or not, the principles still apply. You study to be a brain surgeon for 10 years, and I can be somebody that is racist to the core, but I'm studying to be the best brain surgeon that I could be. And because I have applied myself and I have studied and I have worked hard and I have been diligent about what I want to do, I've reached that plateau and I become the best brain surgeon in the world. All because I applied the principles of hard work. That can happen for an evil man just as well as a good one. So I know I was all over the place, with that, but I just kind of wanted to paint a picture as to, things are a lot different for me now. I'm not a hellion. I'm not out here at bar fights. I'm not out here, doing all this crazy stuff. It's just, I'm a dad, so I gotta set really good positive examples. But one example that I won't have from my boys is Jesus is the only way that you're gonna be something in your life. That is not gonna be a message that I ever tell my boys. I had a talk with my son the other day. I said, listen, man, because there's people in his family that believe, in Christ and Jesus and, that's the way and all of that stuff. I said, listen, man, there's something called indoctrination, and I want you to look it up, and I want you to look at this word. Let's read this definition. And I said, man, listen, in life, don't ever just buy into what people are just telling you because they telling you that. I said, that's how people adopt this belief in Jesus without asking questions. And it's okay. And I told my son, it's okay to ask why. Why? Why? Well, why? Well, why do we have to? Well, why is it like that? I said, man, don't ever let nobody play you like no fool. I said, ask questions, serious questions. And if it don't make sense to you, then you know what to do with it from there. But don't just buy into something because somebody is telling you this is the way. You ask questions. I said, I'm your dad, bro. You still got to do your own research for yourself. You still got to dig and find out the truth for yourself the best that you can. And I said, and you can apply critical basic logic on a lot of the stuff. But don't allow anybody to come to you and sell you on anything and say, hey, this is this. Say, okay, let me look into it first and let me see if this really makes sense. So, that's the message that I had. My oldest is 12. And I'm like, bro, don't let people just give you this like many of us were given. Jesus is the only way. Well, why is Jesus the only way? Well, he died for your sin. Okay. Why? Because they said you're a sinner. Well, why are we sinning? It's just all of this stuff. It's come on, man. You got tribes that have been in the deep forest for 700 years and they ain't heard nothing about no Jesus. All them people condemned. You know what I'm saying? It's just a lot of the stuff that just don't make sense, But, we can only go off what we see, man. And the evidence of what we see, stuff ain't adding up to me. So hopefully, man, y'all, this clarifies some stuff for y'all to those who wondering or been asking as to what happened to the nigga, why he is who he is. And, shout out to the people that's still rock with me in spite of, because I'm still the same person. I don't believe any of that stuff no more. So, man, thank y'all for tuning in, man. And this is the Lunchline Podcast. And we'll do this again next week. Y'all take care. Have a great weekend. Love on yourself. Love on your people. Embrace the moment. Embrace the now. Don't think too far ahead in the future. Don't think about the past. Embrace the now. Take deep breaths. Take care of yourself. Take care of your health. And I love y'all. Until then, man, y'all take care. Have a good weekend. Peace.